not an interrogation, but a trial. Your version of the truth is all that matters.
Truth is singular. Its versions mistruth.
Welcome to Wednesday's call-in show. Sagi's supposed to be here with me, and even when he is here with me, I want people to call because, he's here if you have questions for me or him, whatever, or your shares. Everything is, just because he's here or maybe somebody else is here that's with me throughout the show, I don't want anybody to not call because somebody's already there. Tonight I want to talk about what have you noticed within in the past few months, how your life has changed, what have you noticed going on around you, if you've even noticed any changes at all. Also, phenomenons, Mandela Effects, gifts, abilities, awareness, all of that's still on the table. Shares are shares. But I'm very interested in seeing how people, over these past few months, what they're observing, what they're experiencing, because I myself have noticed that there just seems to be two completely different perspectives and observations going on. And, almost like walking out two separate lives, or just, it's so polar opposite. It's profound, and I don't know. I know what I'm experiencing and what I'm going through and what I'm seeing and how it's affected our life, if it's even affected our life. Has it even affected your life? Or is everything the same? Even if that's what's going on. I want to know that too. So let me go ahead and open up the phones and let's get going, and I want to hear from you guys. So let me get this image out of the way, and this is actually a different waterfall. So still from Hawaii, but it was in that park, just like the one that I showed you before, with this park that's just filled with all these gorgeous natural phenomena, just absolutely beautiful. The lines are open, so, and just make sure you got the show muted so that we don't get that echo sound going from the background, and calls will be taken in the order they're received. And yeah, so we can get this started, we get this going, and let's have a good time with sharing what's going on in your world, what you're observing. And and is the media, what they're putting out in the media, is that what you're experiencing? I mean, it's just, I don't know. It's just so different. Just so polar opposite. And while we're waiting for somebody to call, excuse me, we've got a few of you in here already. Let's see, we got Ral, Dead GPK, Preliminal. Hello, guys. Belinda, how are you guys doing this evening? So, yeah, what are you guys experiencing? What are you going through? Are you walking, or are you seeing people in fear, or are you seeing people just, going about their day to day business? You know, if we think back in the beginning of this, the sheltering in place, that was, it's optional. It's never been that we had to stay home. It was, it was always optional. And then it just became this almost like a self-imposed house arrest. And I think that a lot of us had forgot that, because as more and more time is going by, that it seems to have morphed into something different, but it never changed from being optional. They don't want you in big groups and things like that, because they don't want, in the beginning they didn't know what we were dealing with here, but as time is going on, they're understanding more about this little bug and what, the actual facts are coming in. So, things are changing, but it was always it was put out to us as optional. But, it's just amazing how people can take something that is optional and then all of a sudden, that box in our house tells us something different, and then we all respond to it. And where would they put us all? They don't even, they're wanting to let people out of jail because of the distancing and things like that. Where are they going to put us? They can't arrest us, but they wouldn't arrest us. It's just, I don't know. It's turned into this whole different paradigm, this whole different experience. I myself, I haven't seen much difference in my day to day. Besides some people would be wearing masks and stuff like that. Otherwise, everything's pretty normal, except I do see a divide in people. Like, some people are scared and responding, trying to take everything with caution, almost to the point of being overcautious, afraid to even hug their loved ones. And then there's other people that are still running around hugging and loving and enjoying their family. So, what are you guys going through? Okay, let me see. Let me see what you guys are saying in chat while we're waiting for our first caller to braven up and call in. And remember, like I said, share whatever is going on. I'm interested in that because, as things are starting to open up, and it's going to take a little bit of time for, when you shut down a country and it's been a couple months, it's going to take a little time to, open things back up. And we can do this very peacefully and gracefully, and I know that it will come out okay. But and that seems to be, the first thing on everybody's mind. But I always want to hear whatever you're experiencing, on any, Mandela effects, changes, any kind of phenomena, sky phenomena, all the anything that you have going on with you. This platform is all about sharing what you know so we can all listen and grow. So, just because I'm bringing that up, that doesn't mean that's the only, you can only call if you want to talk about that topic. Hi, Salted Cedar, how are you? Okay, let me see. I saw something from Pre. Oh, okay. How do you unblock? Okay, you have to go into your Google settings, or I think you can do it on your YouTube, under your community settings. You can go in there and unblock from there, or it depends on what kind of block is on them. So you can you may have to go to your Google and unblock from that direction. So depends on what kind of a block was put up. So if you want to be able to see his comments and things like that, or somebody else's comments, check both places. Check on your YouTube settings, and then uncheck their name there, and then on your actual Google settings. So yeah. Okay, I don't have the audio on yet. Okay, and it's a good call, so let me turn on desktop. Boop boop. And you guys let me know if the sound is okay. You are on Awake and Activate, and you just hung up. Ral, I know it was you. Call back. Lines are open. And I had to turn the desktop audio on. When he calls back, I want to make sure you guys can hear him. Hear him also. Yes, we're awake and we are activated. Because there's no better way to be than to be in the present, in the now. Okay. Now you are live on Awake and Activate. Tell me who you are and what do you want to talk about?
Michelle?
Raleigh.
You guys can't say my name. Anybody back east,
Raleigh.
they can say my name.
Raul.
Okay, Michelle.
Raul.
Michelle.
Raul.
Yeah, Michelle. I just bought a $1,000 mountain bike. Guess what kind?
I don't know. Share.
Guess what kind of bike I bought?
A mountain bike. You just said.
Yeah.
Can the chat hear Raul? Can you guys hear him good?
Oh, yeah, I can hear you.
No, I know you can hear me. I want to see if the chat can hear you. There's there's a little delay, so we'll see if they can hear you 5x5.
There's no delay. I don't hear a delay.
No, you won't with me. A delay between the live stream and when people actually hear us.
Okay.
What we're talking about.
I can't see the chat, Michelle.
That's okay. So what kind of
I bought a Raleigh.
Oh
I
no.
bought a Raleigh mountain bike, a racing bike.
Oh my gosh. So did you buy it for your namesake?
Yeah, I've owned a lot of Raleigh mountain bikes, but I bought a Raleigh racing bike. Very nice. Oh man, this is a really nice bike.
Wow. Well, congratulations. What color is it?
Black.
Nice. So is that what you wanted to call and share? I know you've always got something else.
What I wanted to share was that I'm going to go ahead and give my bright red 92 Firebird to your husband. And so if you just let him know that I'm just going to give that to him.
You do not have to do that. I'm not going to tell him that. When you pull up with it and hand it over, I'm not going to torture him. I'm not going to do it. Okay, you guys hear that evil laugh? See what he's trying to do?
Oh yeah. Oh, totally evil.
That
okay.
ha 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 ha.
Okay, what I would like to share about tonight.
Mm-hmm.
Well, what would you like to? I'm up on the latest war with China. What would you like to talk about, Michelle?
Well, how has the past few months affected your life? What are you seeing in your day-to-day life with how people are being and with everything we've been going through here? Has it affected you in any way? Do you see a divide, or you see everything What's going on in your neck of the woods?
Well, my neck of the woods is southern Idaho.
Mm-hmm.
Can you understand
Yes, Southern
what
Idaho.
what I said? Southern Idaho.
Mm-hmm.
And then, you know what we have here? It's
Potatoes.
the second home of the Hollywood elite. That's what we have here. The second home of the Hollywood elite.
Okay.
Okay, it's called Sun Valley, Idaho. All right,
Mm-hmm.
and so we're not affected here. We have no restrictions. Probably because we're surrounded by, I mean, they don't mess with the Hollywood elite. The satanic guys. They don't mess with us here.
So basically, everything's open, everything's up and running.
Everything's open. We just move freely. We have no restrictions.
Nobody's wearing
We
masks.
drive around. Yeah, we don't have any restrictions here in southern Idaho. And then Sun Valley is just north of me. And that's where the Hollywood elite have their second homes.
Okay.
And so you see, we're not affected by this coronavirus fraud.
Okay, that's good. That's good.
I'm just shooting from the hip. I'm just saying what I see.
Well, right. That's what.
We
That's all
have
you
no
can do is
restrictions here. No, we have no lockdowns. Nothing.
Well, see, in the beginning, we weren't never. It was never supposed to be a lockdown. It was a suggestion. It was. You know, the social distancing and the staying in your homes and stuff. It was a recommendation. It was not.
Right.
Everybody. It just morphed into that somehow. It's never
Yep.
been a mandatory thing.
Well, what this started with was back in the day, they had the, last year was, Zika, right?
Right.
And then we had the Ebola virus is going to kill us all. That was in 2015. And then we had the SARS virus. Oh my God, SARS is going to kill us all.
H1N1,
Right?
2, remember?
Yeah.
Swine flu.
Uh-huh.
Mm-hmm.
I would throw in HIV way back when.
Mm-hmm.
But what this is this is a fraud by the deep state,
I mean, I'm not going to comment
Well,
either way on that.
well, what this is this is it's definitely an end time event. Okay, and what it is the one world government
Right.
finally got a toehold. They finally got a toehold, and they brought up this fraud, this virus, and then but it finally got a toehold, and so now they have, you give them an inch, they take a mile.
Right. And how
Okay,
much
so
of
that's
your
what's happened.
freedoms are
That's
you
what's
willing to
happening.
give up for a fake sense of
Yeah.
safety?
So we had what? Ebola, swine flu, let's just go down the list. Swine flu, Zika, I would throw in HIV, and then I would just say, like SARS, you know, all of these fraud attempts to scare the public. And so what this is this, for whatever reason, this fraud virus got the attention of the American public, and now with the world media that's owned by one person. I mean, the media. Like ABC, NBC, CBS,
Right, right.
Disney, they're all owned by like two people. It's just true. And so what they want to do is they want control. It doesn't have to do anything with money. Bill Gates.
Yeah, I did
Okay.
a post on
Okay.
that exercise, that tabletop exercise 201 simulation of this
Yeah, the
pandemic, and they actually
simulation
called
last
it this
November, last
name.
November.
It was in
Well,
October.
well, they
Yeah.
finally were able. They were finally able to trick the sheeple into going for it. And so this is kind of an end time event. But I'm going to tell you what, Michelle. I have good faith. And you know what this is going to happen? Because this is proven over and over and over. The Holy Bible. And I'll tell you what's going to happen to these guys that are trying to pull this scam on the world. You know what's going to happen to them? It's turning back on them. They
Right.
are being caught in their lies, and they're going to pay for it because they are lying to the world. And now they are going to be caught, and it's going to be turned back on them, and they will pay for this.
Well, when you shut down almost, most of the world. I guess Switzerland didn't even look at it, and paid no mind to it. And, in the box on the media, it comes out that they had the worst problem with it. Well, actually, they had the least amount of people that came down with this flu than any place else that had it coming out of that box.
It's a regular flu. It's a regular flu that they have worked up into something that's bigger than it is. It's a regular flu.
Yeah, it's on the back of our Lysol cans.
This is all my opinion, okay? This is all my opinion. But, Michelle, I have way too much time on my hands. And I've studied this with my genius IQ. And, I see what exactly they're doing. What they're doing is they want, like a world domination. They want power. It's not anything to do with money. Michelle, honestly,
No,
I come from a
No,
family.
I
I
agree.
come from a family of extreme wealth. It has nothing to do with wealth. It has nothing to do with money. It has something to do with control and power. That's what this is. And
And are you
the
willing to give
thing
it to them?
well, the thing is, they don't see it because they're blind. Michelle, do you know what you and I have? I'm serious. We have the Holy Spirit eyes to see. And probably the majority of the people in your chat room right now have holy eyes to see the truth.
And
We can see the truth.
that's why
We see the truth.
I posed the question on what are you seeing going on around you. Now, when I go out, I see the people that are wearing the masks, walking around in fear. But I experience more people not wearing the masks, just going about their day to day. So, it is a big divide. I mean, when you talk to somebody that, is believing this, I mean, they're truly in fear that they're going to, from a
Okay.
hug,
Okay,
catch
very
this.
personal. Very, very personal. My little sister, she's in her 50s. She cannot see the truth. And so she is terrified. She has locked her door. She won't leave her house. She's absolutely paralyzed in fear.
It's terrible. That breaks my heart.
I know. It's like, I try to thank God my mother, who's in her 80s, she sees it. And she's like, Raleigh, your little sister is insane. And she goes, do you need any toilet paper, Rawl? And I'm like, no, Mom, what's up? And she said, well, your little sister bought me 50 rolls of toilet paper.
So your little
please.
sister's the one that caused the
please.
shortage.
Please laugh. Please laugh.
It's all her fault.
She's a toilet paper zombie.
Oh my God.
And I can't joke with my little sister. I can't joke with her about it at all. Because she's taking it, she thinks it's real, but it's not real.
Somebody mentioned in the chat that, hang on, Rawl, hang on a second.
Michelle, the world media is owned by two guys. Okay?
You already said that. Listen, somebody addressed something very interesting in the chat. He said it's a mutation of SARS from the flu virus. But okay, when you're looking at the flu,
it's a regular flu.
When you look at the flu,
no.
Don't. Hey, shh. Listen. Just listen. A virus, first of all, is a non-living. It needs a host. All right.
They don't even know what it is. They're trying to say a virus. They have no idea what a virus is. Michelle,
well, the person that made the comment is pretty bright person.
A virus is not a germ. You can't catch a virus from somebody else. Do you know what a virus is? I do.
Yes, I know. I do know what a virus is.
The only thing that I can lead you to, that you might be educated about it, is Max Egan channel. Max Egan, the Crow House.
Uh-huh.
He sees it. He sees the truth. He knows what it is. And I can lead you to a couple of more people that see what a virus is. And what they're doing is they're squashing, the doctors that are saying that this is just bullshit. I'm sorry, I don't want to swear. I don't want you to think I've gone insane. I mean, please, honestly. I mean, doctors worldwide are saying this is a fraud, and the mainstream media is squashing it, and I'll tell you why. Follow the buck. Who's making money on this besides Bill Gates and the pharmaceutical companies? And it has nothing to do with the mark of the beast. And, oh, my God, we're going to take a vaccine. It's going to be mandatory. Has nothing to do with that. That is not it. It's a power grab by a, New World Order government. Are you there?
Yeah. I'm trying to read the chat at the same time while you're talking, and they're saying some pretty.
I'm not watching the chat.
Okay, well.
I'm not watching the chat, and I know that the liberals that don't see it, that are frickin' blind, like my little sister, that's scaring the shit out of my mother. You know, they are so full of shit because they are believing the mainstream media. The mainstream media, everything the mainstream media, ABC, NBC, CNN, everything they say, just turn it around. And it is exact opposite of what they're saying. I don't know how to tell you. I know you're in California. You're surrounded. I don't know how you're going to be able to survive in California because you guys are surrounded by frickin' people that are out their mind.
Okay,
You
now
know what?
then listen
you
to
know,
what.
Don't get me worked up.
Hang on,
You
Ralph.
know,
Hang on. Hold on.
I don't want to start swearing and dropping the F-bomb.
Hold on, don't.
But
Listen.
the mainstream media, everything the mainstream media says, turn it around. It's exactly the opposite of what they're saying.
Rally.
This is a regular
You
flu.
have to let me speak, or I'm going to have to let you go, hon. Because you're talking
just
about
let me
where.
go.
No,
just let me go.
Don't
just
get
let me
angry.
go.
Don't get angry. But I'm trying to answer what you asked, and I can't finish because then you go on to something else. Here, where I'm located, we're opening back up. So I don't know who's telling you, that information about.
So you're begging your masters
No.
let you.
No.
No.
I'm
You
talking
just
about.
live normal.
I am living normal.
You just live. I don't know how to say this any other way. You don't protest at your state capitol because what you're asking is for your masters to let you be free. Do you understand what I'm saying?
What we're dealing with is two separate paradigms, though. When you have people that are so scared, and then now the facts have come out. They've got their facts because these doctors have been running these tests and examining this. When it first came out, all they had was that tabletop simulation, and it was not fact-based. And so they went off of those. That's right. So they went off of that news.
There is no test. There is no vaccine.
What I'm trying to explain to you.
There's no vaccine. And I loved, the idea of President Trump. I really did. I thought, well, we're going to put Hillary in prison. And you know what? The fact is that Donald Trump is also a puppet. Yeah. It just is. That's the way it is. This is a world. Can I speak on what I would like to share about?
Sure.
Please?
Yeah, I'll give you a few more minutes, Ralph.
Will you give me like a few more minutes, or will you give me 5 minutes?
If somebody else calls in, then we'll sew it up.
If somebody else calls in, then you just cut me off, okay?
Yeah, I'll let you know that. Well, you'll hear them beep in, and then we'll go on to them.
All right.
Okay.
All right. So, okay. So, what I would share about is we're in the 1,000-year judgment of God right now. And if you want to see the latest uploads, look Conspiracy R Us channel, okay, and Flat Earth Nation channel. Okay, so you look up those two channels, and Flat Earth Nation uploaded something in 2017 about how history has been changed. Now, we have to figure in that Orion Earth is different than Sagittarius, right?
I completely think there's two different paradigms going on simultaneously.
Okay. So what's what is here on Orion Earth is a false history. And so what the history in the Dark Ages is that there was destruction of Rome. The Roman Empire was destroyed. And the 1,000-year reign of Christ, are you following what I'm saying? Did you hear
I'm
what I
listening
just
to
said?
you.
Okay, it's over. And so now is the second resurrection. Okay, so in the Bible, it says there's a first resurrection and there's a second resurrection. And this second resurrection has just begun. So now, the negative dark force is trying to overwhelm. That's why what we've got on I don't know, like, you know, all the satanic stuff we see nowadays.
I don't see.
Hello?
I don't. I don't see a lot
You
of
don't
that.
you don't see it on the Oscars.
I don't.
You don't
see,
see
I'm
it
not
on
much
the
into the
Golden
TV.
Globes. You don't see it in music. You don't see how music has turned satanic.
Well,
Dude,
you're
come
talking about different platforms or outlets that they're not a part of my life anymore. I don't watch much television, if at any
I
at
don't
all. When I listen to
I watch
music, I'll
just
listen to
enough
like John
news.
Benny
I
or other
watch
people
just
like
enough
that.
news to know that we're going to go to war with China.
And see,
Have you
do
seen
you
that?
do you
Have you
really
seen the
believe
latest?
that? Do you? I'm being
Have you
serious
seen
with
the
you, Will.
latest? Have you seen the latest? How the hatred between the nation of China and the United States? You've not seen that hatred start to rise its ugly head?
Okay, but now I want you to think about this. Open your mind a little bit and just listen to me for a second. They did a war game simulation in Wuhan, China. 109 countries participated. Now, how can you think that we're going to go to war with anybody when we're having war games with these other countries? So when you start to see through the narrative, these type of tactics do not work. They will get people who do not see this, do not have their eyes open. They will be the ones that will attack people for their ethnicity and things like that.
No, it
But-
doesn't have anything to do with racism. This is not racism. That's a liberal trick.
No, I didn't say racism. I
Yes, it
said,
is.
listen, I said they will get people that do not have their eyes open enough to see that they're all getting together and playing these war game simulations, and to think that we're all going to go home and then really go to war with each other. If you could see it, you could see it. If you can't see it, then you
Okay,
gotta.
here's what the Holy Bible says, and I'll tell you why. That the guy that was born in Islam, the guy that was born, he was born in Islam. The guy that was born in Islam. The guy that was born Buddhist, and he's been raised Buddhist all of his life. He's never heard the word Jesus Christ, never, in all of his life. How is he going to have eternal life? How? I know that answer. And then I'll tell you what, these guys that are so blind, okay, the only way we can fight this, Jesus said this. He said the only way that you can fight the enemy is with his word. All right? And now I'll just wrap it up with this. The road to eternal life is very narrow, and very few shall find it. Okay?
Mm-hmm.
And the rest will die. Not burning forever. They'll just vanish. They're gone. And so God said that the road, to eternal life, is very narrow, and few shall find it. Okay, so that means the majority of everybody on earth right now is not going to make it. But they will all have a choice. They will all know that Jesus is God in the flesh. And I'm going to wrap that up right here. So, any of your people in the chat room right now, have they heard about Jesus as God in the flesh? Okay, well now they have a choice. So they have a choice to look into that or not. And so all of the people in your chat room right now may have heard of that Jesus said, Jesus, God in the flesh, said, it's my way or you will die and you'll be gone and you won't live forever. You're not going to be on the next new earth. Did you follow what I just said?
I'm listening to you. I don't use this platform to preach hell and damnation or condemnation on
You'll
anybody.
have to replay what I just said because
I
because
heard you.
I'm a Bible scholar for over 50 years. And I'm going to tell you what, everybody on earth right now has had an opportunity to accept or reject Jesus Christ. Everybody on earth. And then what I was wanting to, rewind, what I would like to share about Conspiracies Are Us, and also Flat Earth Nation. Those two YouTube channels are now talking about, and I have known this, Michelle, for years now, that we are in, right now, the 1,000-year millennium. Judgment. The judgment. We judge others standing beside Jesus. We are in the 1,000-year judgment right now. If you look up Conspiracies Are Us, the 1,000-year judgment,
Sagi
look that
finally
up.
made it. Welcome, Sagi. He was supposed to be here when it started.
Most
but,
importantly, wait. Most importantly, I'm old wise guy, right? Hello?
Sagi,
Hello?
you're unmuted. If you want to try your sound.
Hello?
Can you not hear anymore, Ralph? What's going on?
Can you hear me?
Can you guys hear me okay?
Yeah.
Most importantly,
Yep, we can hear you.
the
All right.
very most important thing is, you ready?
Go ahead.
Hello?
Go ahead and finish
I
up.
am going to, I'm near death. I'm near my deathbed right now. I'm serious. I'm very old and I'm hurting right now and I will die soon. And I will honestly put in my will that my 1992 Firebird is going to go to your husband.
Oh my gosh. All right, Ralph. Okay. Well,
All right, good
thank
night,
you for the
Michelle.
call.
I love you, Eddie.
I love you too.
All right. All right.
Good night. Okay. Yeah, I just was really just wanting to see what you guys were experiencing. Like I can see that there's like two different paradigms that seem to be, colliding. I don't, this is not a platform for preaching or trying to, I don't like condemnation or anything. I don't know people well enough with what they've got going on within their life to even say things, about them, or what their beliefs are, or because that's not what that my platform is for. So anyway, Sagi, why are you so late?
Say again?
Why are you so late?
I was too sleepyhead.
Oh, nap. Yeah, I hear you.
Yeah, I woke up. It was like already after showtime.
Yeah,
I was looking at my phone. I had to look at it twice. I'm like, I can't really believe it's that late here. I've never slept this late. I went Mr. Rip Van Winkle on you.
It's okay. It's okay. Well, Ralph called in, and now that he's not on the phone, I can address some of the things that he actually did bring up. Though he was saying,
I heard the tail end of his call, but I couldn't do it.
Well,
I didn't hear enough to.
Well, he was talking about, because I'm asking what you people are actually seeing, what they're experiencing around them. Not what the box in your living room is telling you, but what you're actually seeing and going through with your own experience.
You mean the actual windows? You mean the actual windows in your house? What you see when you look through those, not the Windows operating system on your screen, right?
Right. The eyes in my head,
Oh.
where when I go out in public, what am I seeing? What am I experiencing? Now, it's not that we're getting permission from any higher power governing people to, open up. What has happened is, as the information has come in, it's like you've got two separate, almost polar opposite groups that you're dealing with. You're dealing with people that are completely scared out of their mind that this is so contagious, and that from how it was described, it would be a horrible way to leave this place. So they're totally petrified in fear. They're wearing masks. They're staying home. They're stocking up, and okay. And then you got the people that are just taking this with stride, and just living their life normally, in peace, with love, and hugging still, and just so that's what I'm talking about. It's not a matter of the power, the governing bodies have opened up. What they've done is by county, depending on if new cases, and they found out that actually, as they were having people tested, that the ones that would test positive, of the ones that would they would think they would have this virus. Well, they finally were able to test for it, and then of the people they thought had it, well, only, like, let's take the number, I think it was like 3,200. Okay, and only 300 and something actually did have it. And then of that 300, 93% had minimal problems and full recovery. And it left it at a 0.1% fatality rate. Okay, so now that the actual facts are coming out, the people that are so afraid and petrified, this will bring them calmness, where they will then start to hug again and hold hands and interact with other people. And the people that are walking in peace and didn't allow this to affect them that way, well, they're going to continue with it, with the way they were walking. And then the other people who were scared they're going to come out of that fear and get back to their normal way of thinking. When you scare people to the point they can't think for themselves, you really have scared people to and stressed them out, and just it's a terrible thing to even think about, that what these people are going through with such fear. So, when they're opening back up, it's been a couple months now, it's got to be a gradual process. That's just logical because we've got to get the goods and services, we got to get the people back to work to produce, and then the things got to get back to the stores. And so, things are going to take time on a three-dimensional type of perspective. But it's not that a governing body is telling us we can open. We were never told directly, like, you have to stay in your house. You're not allowed to come out of your house. It was always voluntary. People ended up over time, they started allowing these talking heads and the talking box in the living room to make it into more than what it actually was. And I am here in California, and the things that I'm seeing are not how he thinks. He's in Idaho. He is experiencing, peace where he's at. He didn't have anything closed down. Everything's, pretty much, he said normal, completely normal. Like none of his restaurants were closed, nothing. Well,
Oh, wow.
here, I've got my aunt's in Idaho, and she said that they did close but maybe it's the area of Idaho. But so
Well, I can imagine there being a town small enough where, though there's nobody tested positive, and the diner maybe has 5 people named Dave and 2 people named Joe that stop in every day.
right. So when I was trying to explain that, the parks, you can go to the parks. We've got dine-in restaurants. It's just a process that's going through, and it's pulling those other people out of the fear with the actual facts, so then they can get back to peace in their heart. And my hope is that in this time that people took the time to meditate, reconnect, get the Holy Spirit baptism. But people call different things, have their spiritual awakening, understand who and what they truly are, things like that, because what a better time when you are actually spending more time at home and not running the hamster wheel to get to know yourself and understand who and what
And
you
there
are.
are some places where it really is scary in your neighborhood. I mean, people are acting strange. Things are really severe. People, according to the media where you live, people really are, in the hospital sick with this just miles away from you. And I can imagine being in an environment like that, flight or fight might actually kick in at some point. You might get scared enough to where you go into one of those extremes. And once you get into an extreme like that, it's hard to get out. I mean,
Exactly.
if you really are in a defense mechanism, brought on by fear.
And it divides people, and out of fear, you're right, it will be people. It's not going to be a military or a war type situation. It'll be people attacking other people. And that's what, when people are scared, they're backed into a corner. They feel like they're backed into a corner, and if you come too close, they will, it's a fight or flight. If they have no escape route and they're cornered, they're going to fight. And if they think there's shortage, they're going to go and get what they think that they need. So that's why fear is so toxic to a community, to a country, to the world. It's just, and fear is the tool
To
that
think
they
for
always
just
want
a
to
moment.
use to control.
Yeah, to think for just a moment that the people who are out there, doing a civil unrest, peaceful protest, to think that they're not scared, you're misevaluating the system. You're misevaluating the situation. They're probably just as scared as the person who's in the farthest corner of their house with a TV and a mask on. I mean, both people are scared. The people that are at the civil unrest protest, they're scared for the livelihood of their family because they don't know how they're going to put food on the table. And the person that's sitting, in that farthest corner of the room with a mask on watching TV, they're scared too. They're scared to get out. They're scared to leave the corner of that room because they're afraid they're going to catch a virus. So I mean, both people are scared. They just are experiencing fear. Maybe there's a different incentive that's driving the fear, but both people are fearful. They're fearful for their life in a different kind of way.
And Pre just made a comment that's very interesting. He said, and this is something that is, being noticed by many. This is what he said. Strange how many of the, I'm just going to say, virus sick are sent home to medicate and recover at home. Okay. And he says, and then the hospitals are empty, trying to understand it better. Exactly. There's no logic in it. So when and when you get people to the point where they're so scared, their critical thinking is gone. They're only thinking of self-preservation, and he's right. When you look around, at the medical facilities and things like that, it doesn't match up with the narrative. So you have the eyes to be able to see that and discern it, and then you can walk in that peace because you're like, okay, well, then obviously the box is not telling me what's really going on here. And then they start seeing and experiencing and then living for the moment and walking in that peace that is beyond understanding. That he brought up a lot of biblical things. So yeah, that's in the Bible too. You walk in a peace that is beyond understanding. So somebody that is scared to the critical thinking and is shot, it's gone. Well, when somebody's walking next to you in a peace that is beyond your understanding, you're gonna ask them, how are you able to walk in that peace? And then you can open up a dialogue where, if that's what your beliefs are and that's how you got there, you can share your journey with them, and then they can use their discernment and either, go with what you're telling them and try it for themselves. But I got the impression and the feeling that the path is narrow because you're the only one on it because you're unique. You're so unique, and what's going on in you is different than what's going on in me. So if you're following the herd and being in the group or group think, well, you're not on a narrow path, are you? You're on a broad path with a lot of people all thinking, reacting, responding, and being told that it has to be done this certain way. When you're on a narrow path, you're doing the inner work that, when you have your spiritual awakening or the Holy Spirit come in, things are being removed out of you that do not serve you. And sometimes we cleave to those things because we don't understand. We were brought up with these things and we're like, wait. And then some of them we cleave to, which makes it more difficult for some than it is for others. But it's a narrow path. And this is just my opinion because you're the only one on it. And you could have, and it could be few. Maybe you and your spouse are in one accord and are walking on that narrow path together. So, it's just something to think about. But, whenever fear is used, I use my discernment there because there's something underlining that they're wanting to promote it in order for some sort of control.
Yeah. Well, here comes the kicker. I mean, it is sooner or later everybody's got to come back out, right? I mean, unless you're a retired person who was already kind of, homebound anyway, like you already were a person who spent most of your time at home.
Yeah, from disabilities and things like that, right?
The greater group of people listening had some type of function. They got up every day and went out and either went to school or went to a job or had some type of social interaction on a daily basis, and that has been deprived of most of all of us here recently. And I guess I'm saying is we're all going to have to eventually, at some point, we're all facing the how do we resume? Well, how do we resume life? How do we get back out there? And at what pace are we comfortable with? It's my family situation And what does it dictate? I mean, we all are in a unique situation of circumstances, depending on who we have living with us, how many people live with us, what we actually do when we go out. I mean, how much interaction we have with the general public. I mean, everything really is a case-by-case scenario, and it's not for any one person to judge anyone else's scenario. However, all the scenarios can prove to be an interesting test of our spirituality, our conscious awareness, our growth, our discernment. I mean, all of these things are definitely going to. I mean, people who don't even normally practice these type of things are now practicing them in a way they've never experienced them before. It is definitely uncharted ground and unique territory for a lot of people. I would say that a lot of people in the truth community that have been more aware, more spiritually connected, they're probably at a slight advantage. But I wouldn't give those people a huge advantage. I just think that they may have seen the writing on the wall while it was, on its way in, but nobody could have predicted that to this degree. I don't
Okay,
believe.
Sagi, we've got a call.
I know I did.
And
All right.
Okay, you are live on Awake and Activate with Michelle and Sagi. Who are you? Introduce yourself, and you got the floor.
Hey, it's me, Miss B.
Well, hello there.
Hi.
Hi
This
there.
is such a good topic. I almost ran a few minutes ago when I first came in because various reasons I won't mention, but then I decided to stay. I figured that you'd have many different callers with different views, but
Yes, and everything is okay here. It's okay.
Yes.
Yeah,
yeah,
I'm open.
I breathe through it, Michelle. So, I
That's
was
good.
thinking about this while everybody's talking. Just a few things that have come up, and one is, say, all or nothing. Like, okay, let me use an example. When back in the day when there was like Ebola and SARS and things like that, I never experienced any fear over those viruses. I just kept working and never thought another thought of them. They just never affected me the way that this one did. Where I didn't have, they didn't shut down the whole world over it either, causing my job, which is one of the last ones that will ever go back, because they've literally got me closed to the state of Texas where I cannot work. So, but it's right, that sitting in front of the TV and seeing that which I don't sit in front of the TV, but I can see where people sitting there and wondering, oh my God, what's going to happen with me financially, especially with the unsurety of our government, all of them. The way that they're handling, like in Canada, they were giving everybody $2,000 a month during the time off, and in America, all they've done is just, instead of just jumping in and letting us all just be here for a few months, taking care of us, and then we go back, it's just been this whole roller coaster of emotion coming from the government. Oh, well, maybe we'll go back at Easter, maybe we won't, maybe, all this, I call it ambiguity. And when I was a young girl, I really did handle ambiguity a lot better because I was more ambiguous. But I don't handle that at all. So today I saw my grandkids. It was great. And my grandson, we were doing good about not, kissing, And then he went and got in the car and then came out of the car and ran over. And I bent down to hug him, and he gave me a big old quick kiss on my mouth. And I thought, oh, no. But it was okay. They missed the hugs. I missed the hugs. And the way I look at it, I'm going to be sending you something in your in a chat. I'll send you this really cool link for you to look at. It's about 25 minutes long, and I thought that might be something you might want to discuss on your next show. But we can't really look at all or nothing. We really can't. There's moments when even the best people with the most faith will have their ups and downs through this. The problem with our society, I think, is this need for perfection, that, oh, I'm completely not afraid, I'm completely afraid. No. It's human to feel and then to find places of peace. So I think that, I'm not going to deny that I've had moments, but at the same time, I've used all my time very wisely. Like tonight I made 8 jars of apple butter, and I stayed busy in my kitchen. Me and the kids colored today when they came, and the other day they swam with me. So I've seen them twice now, which has been super duper, super duper. So I get the fear and stuff, but I don't get it being a completely, if the world was perfect, that would be great. But people are going to, just doesn't make sense.
Yeah, because, okay, trying to be perfect, who are you trying to be perfect for? Who is setting the bar of perfection? I mean, is
that a question?
No, it's like when people are saying, that they are perfect, or they're judging others, or they're doing things like that. The Bible has Christ as perfection, but he is not here in a physical form at this time where he can be the one determining perfection. What happens is other people set the bar for what they think perfection is, and that they vary. That hence why there's 35,000 different denominations of Christianity. Because they would splinter off from each other because they didn't agree on the doctrines or what's holy or what's, different things would cause splinter groups, and then it would become a new denomination. So,
I guess I was coming from a different point of view on this. I was coming from that when you're taking a form of religious Christianity, and not you in general, I'm just using you as in general, but not you specifically. That's what I meant to say. Most people look at you and then they're like, well, where's your faith in God? And why have you not got peace? And what, you're going to have moments of peace, but there's no way. And I do have viewed God very differently. I do believe that we all are sons and daughters of God. So I don't have the same doctrine as the Christians, a religion, although I'm a Christ believer and a Christ mind believer. So I do believe that, Christ died for sin and all that, but I have a different look. So I guess what I'm trying to say is that I was listening to y'all talk, and I was hearing y'all talk about, the faith, having that faith, and that finding that peace surpasses all understanding. And I think most people who do have a belief in whatever God it is they believe in, they may have moments of that peace, but then rightfully as a human forget and then have to pull themselves back. It's not going to be perfect.
Right.
I don't see it as, that's what I meant.
Mm-hmm.
You got me.
Yes.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And just like, you couldn't convince me that there is not a creator. Okay? You can't.
Right.
I see the fingerprints of the Almighty is all around us.
I believe it 100%.
And I can also tell you that, when that happened with my daughter, I was crushed. My heart was broken. I wasn't having peace at that moment. No. So things happen through our life, our experiences that we have, but we grow from them. So to try to determine perfection or how we should or should not respond to certain things, the things that I hear too is, judge not lest ye be judged. I won't judge somebody because, first of all, I don't have the right to. I don't know people. I'm not in their skin. I don't know what they're going through within them. So how can I judge? I'm not, but I do use discernment. And when I see somebody putting out fear propaganda, when they use fear, what goes into my mind is, what's the agenda, and why?
Are you talking about, when you're saying agenda? I'm just trying to understand where you're coming. Are you talking about like other people that are making videos and those people that are putting it out there? Not somebody who has a moment of fear. You're talking about actually somebody just pushing it out there into the public.
Fear. Right. Promoting public fear.
I just wanted to clarify.
Yeah, what are they trying to do there? Usually fear is used to try to control. using fear as a control mechanism. So, I use discernment on that. I don't want people to think that just because I walked out this journey in my path, that to follow mine, that because it's so unique and individual for each person. So, I'm not going to judge people. I'm going to discern. I'm going to discern what I'm hearing and what I'm going through and what I'm experiencing with them. And then I'll make my own, whether I'm going to interact or if I'm going to walk away. I'm not going to harm that
Right.
person. I don't need, there's no need for that.
Well, your caller prior to my call was very. It was just weighing in, and I know you probably saw my comments. I was just going crazy. I was like, no, don't. Okay, there has to be some type of belief for me. I don't, not for somebody else that says, if a person hasn't heard of Christ, does that mean, oh, well, they haven't heard of him, so they're all just going to die, and no, I believe we have a loving, sovereign, all of it God. I believe that so much that has been so twisted in the name of hurt toward humanity, just hurt and pain. I believe that even if it was just that moment before that person passed on, that God would, touch their soul, there's been many stories of people who've said they've passed away, and as they died and they came back, they were traveling toward this beautiful place of peace and light. And even one man who didn't even believe in God, I think he was a doctor that I saw that actually, died and went into this light of beautiful and came back this complete believer of God. And he was one of those doctors, that just didn't even believe,
Yeah, he believed in science. That was his religion.
Right. Well, the thing about science, let me just throw something at you. I don't know the lady's name, so I'm not going to quote, but she worked for the... She worked during the time back in the days with Fossey. She worked for when they were having all the HIV outbreaks and the people were just going crazy dying. And she was the one that got kicked out and sued, and they closed her mouth and put her in prison for like 5 years. Well, she's writing a book, and that's going to be the video I'm going to send you. And in the book, not just the book, but she came out on a 25-minute conversation. And it's hard to believe anything anymore. But she came out and talked. To be honest with you, I'm just at a place where it's just hard to believe anything but just what's in my own heart. But she did talk about the fact that that most of what is going on has been pre-planned by the World Health Organizations and all the stuff that I really have kind of stayed away from until I heard her talk. Because I know she went to jail just because they shut her up because she had nothing. They planted books in her home that she had not stolen from the labs. And Fossey was one of the big ones. And when I heard that, it kind of just was like, okay, is this real? Is this not? Is it live or is it Memorex? But, you just don't know. But will any of this really matter? What really matters is those times when we do feel scared and we need to pull in and, today was great to hug my grandkids. I figured, you know what? I'm not going to not hug my own grandkids. I haven't seen them. They're in isolation only because my daughter, of course, she has children. She thinks that's the best thing to do. And I'm in isolation because, I'm not, what am I going to do? Just purposely just go run out in the streets for no reason? I don't really need to be out there amongst that anyway. I have 90% of the time I have my groceries delivered and stuff like that anyway. So it's not like I always, left and went out into the world anyway. So it was just an adjustment financially for me versus an adjustment watching your waterfall, and it makes you have to go to the bathroom. I heard Salted Cedar said it too. He's like, I gotta go pee.
Oh my goodness.
It's actually very beautiful. But you know what I'm trying to say is I'll let you look at that video and then you can just discern what your thoughts, and I would really like your thoughts on that video. I really would like it. It's not on YouTube. It's a small 25-minute video that's only being passed through Facebook Messenger. It's not being passed through like Facebook. I don't know the way to click on it to get it through Facebook Live. I might be able to figure it out. But I watched it tonight and the interview, and I was like, and she was saying some really interesting things about, not putting the respirators into these people, that the respirators are what's killing the people. Now, when I was sick in February, and I mean literally, I was not breathing, and I was on just oxygen 24/7 in my living room, and I'd gotten to where I was literally coughing blood and not breathing, and I have my own treatments here, my own nebulizers and stuff. I'm kind of grateful that I didn't end up in the hospitals, because they're saying that if they put a ventilator down the person's throat and they are sick with this, that the lungs cannot handle the amount of pressure that the ventilator puts on them, and then they pass away. And one more thing before I forget, they stated something in that video that for people that are actually passing away from this virus, that they're actually adding anybody that just happens to be in the hospital at the time that dies, they just add those into the deaths. What do you think about that? Do you think that's true or not?
I
Go ahead,
want to
Sagi.
say, I think that that's way too much to speculate on. I mean, we don't really know. I mean, all we would really be doing is speculating, and I've over the past month or two came to where I really hate to anything related to this virus. I hate to speculate on it, because I feel like I don't really have enough real information that I can trust the source to form a solid speculative opinion on, one way or the other. That's just me personally, but
And I am so grateful that I do have a source that I can trust to get information from, that is willing to give me from the other side, from the medical side, what they're dealing with. And I mean, that brought so much peace and understanding on what they're dealing with from their side. So I see what you're saying, and we do not want to speculate. And it's different when you experience something firsthand. You know for a fact, because you were there in the room or in the area, so you know because you were there. Now there may have been 10 other people there with their own versions of how they're going to describe it or how it affected them emotionally or whatnot, but at least it would be closer together than to talk about something that is just put out there that we don't know. The source isn't validated, or we don't know who the person is that's speaking. There's no relationship there, or and so I have to agree with Sagi. I don't want to speculate on what they're thinking or on those type of things, but I know that when we don't know and then they put out this information to us, that will again promote more fear. And that's what we're trying to veer away from.
I mean, in that sense I can see that, because she was saying that just the way that the whole medical community is handling this, that it's not supposed to be, they know that it's not supposed to be handled this particular way, and that something about, like, if we continue to stay in a place where we're washing our hands all the time and we're continuing to not let our bodies build antibodies, of our own, and
no, we won't have an immune system. Exactly. Yeah.
Right. And I'm guilty of that, because I do clean, like a lot right now, especially after the kids left. I wiped everything down, and but then I got a smack from my grandson, just a wet one too, because he reached up and gave me a quick kiss, and his lips were wet, and I looked at my daughter and said, well, so much for social distancing now. But I had saw my granddaughter back in February.
That was an amazing thing, because children, especially children, they need those hugs, they need that love, they need that physical contact. It's so important to emotional and physical development.
When I saw Vera back in my granddaughter back in February on the 16th, by the 19th is when I was really seriously ill after that. So, of course, there was that worry that she was carrying something, but I didn't really. I will be honest with you, when I was sick, I was too sick to think it was COVID. I didn't have time. I didn't have time while being sick to wonder what it was. I don't know if that makes any sense. I was just my body was just trying to heal. I wasn't, what I'm trying to say is I was so sick that I didn't sit around wondering what was going on with me. I was just laying on a recliner chair that gets back up and down on its own and just on breathing treatments like every 4 hours and with nebulizers, inhalers, oxygen. Thank God I had that in the house. And
if I remember correctly, Vivian, you were sick for quite a while. I mean, it was
4
like
weeks.
4 to 6 week stretch, wasn't it?
Yes. Well, I would say 6 weeks total, but I would say 4 severe. But I would say 3 of that 4, I wasn't even able to interact with anybody online or anything anymore. I was just the first 3 weeks I was 103 fevers and and I never have said yes I had COVID. I ended up getting tested, but I got tested way after it was all done. And the test grounds themselves put me into a question about the whole virus as well, but I didn't want to be part of a problem. And what I mean by that is that because there was such a skepticism of getting to a drive-through test ground where no one else was except me, and one truck in front of me that had been there for I don't know how long, on this humongous place. For me, I could have went and made a public video about it, and did all that, but I said, unless I knew more at that time, I know more now, it wouldn't have been healthy for me to put out a video to prove that there was literally nobody. All these people are dying, but there was nobody at the test place.
Right.
And which I did take pictures, even though it was against the law. They were like, "Put that camera down," put the no photo, and I was like, "Whoa," my eyes got real big. I was like, me and my son-in-law were kind of scared actually. We went through there because we had to drive into this really weird door in the dark. It was real weird. First we were in this tent, and then they made you go through this door in the dark, and we looked at each other like, "Are we ever coming out?" And he's not a conspiracy theorist, but it was there, But yeah, I just decided that for me, and then I found out all the other information down the road, like Easter Sunday, my daughter's coworker decided to get together with her whole family for Easter, and every single family member got COVID. All of them. There's like maybe 26 or 30 people that were at the barbecue. They're all sick, including grandma, grandpa, mom, and dad. And then another one of my daughter's coworkers, 28, she caught it and then gave it to her mother, but she died instead of her mom. It was really weird. So she passed away at 28, and she was one of my daughter's teams at work. My daughter's really does a lot of stuff with a big huge computer company here, and so she has her job straight from home. Now she's manager of one of the big clouds in America. But I don't. When you start then hearing it close to home, then you're like, okay, this is real. But when you can't see it.
People die every
Vivian,
day.
I know you went to the testing facility. You got your results? I assume they were negative. That you didn't test positive.
I didn't test until way after I was completely well. It was like almost 3 weeks after I was completely 100% well. So it was a total of let's say 6, maybe 9. We figure February to March to April. It was around March 23rd that I tested. I don't remember.
So now the test that you took, is it capable of knowing that whether you already had it and
no, it was a regular.
Kind of test? Okay.
No, it was a regular. They stuck this long thing, up my nose.
The nasal swab.
Mhm.
Okay.
But like I said, I've had many respiratory infections in my life, usually every year. But this was something that I had never experienced during my respiratory infection.
Well, you
Like, I
can
mean,
know that you
literally
can.
felt like,
Our bodies are built that we don't actually. We're not able to get the same virus twice. We build up the antibodies, and we don't. It's always a different strain.
I know, but I'd never been where I couldn't breathe at all. I mean, it was just, I'm glad I didn't go to the
Yeah.
hospital, though. I'm going to be honest with you. My doctors didn't want, well, because in the beginning there was no test, so they wouldn't let me come to the office. They were just scared in February. They were just like, no, we're going to just send you antibiotics and treat you at home. And what they treated me with, just in case everybody wants to know, because I got well, they treated me with 2 rounds of, the first one was a 250 Z-Pack for 5 days.
That's a.
Then they did a 500
antibiotic.
Z-Pack for 7 days. Do what?
Those are antibiotics.
Right. Then they gave me a 500 milligram Z-Pack for 7 days. Then they put me on 1 week, of ceftonir, which is another antibiotic. And then they put me on 2 weeks of ceftonir.
Antibiotics don't help viruses.
Yes. Do what?
The antibiotics, they kill bacterial. They don't.
I know, but honey, they wouldn't let me in their office. They were doing everything from the phone. There was no test to see what was actually happening. I know I had an infection, and I do know that sometimes when a person gets a virus,
would be bacterial.
Sometimes when a person gets a virus, they could get an infection.
Mm-hmm.
Not necessarily. They could be like, you could have the flu and get something else at the same time.
Like get pneumonia from it or something like
that.
Right.
And so I did get a chest X-ray, but that was about 4 weeks after I was already, doing pretty well. And I mean, I can't say that I don't have some fear of going through that again, but just you got to do one day at a time. You got to do one day at a time.
Personally, myself, I do not know. I don't have any family members, and I do not know any of my friends here that I see physically. I've had 0 people come down with this. 0.
Well, my daughter said that she knows somebody who came down with it twice.
Yeah, see, I don't know anybody. I don't have anybody.
How can the same person come down with it twice?
The only thing, when I was doing my research, if you don't get enough, like, let's say you had a really mild case, there is a possibility that you can get it again, but it'll also be another mild case, so that way the antibodies. But normally, no, you're not. You should.
That's good to know. That's very good to know. Thank you, Michelle.
It should be just one time, and then if you get it bad enough, your immune system kicks in, and our bodies are designed to handle.
I don't really have an immune system.
To handle some. Well, yours is compromised because if you have underlying medical issues, if you are, average, healthy. Even just average health. This is, like I said, when they're finally coming out with the actual numbers, it's got a 0.1%, which is less than the annual flu of fatality.
What was the percentage of the Ebola and SARS? What was the percentage of those, Michelle? Do you remember?
I have no idea. Because there wasn't a big panic about it, so the doctors, it wasn't as readily available. And for these doctors to start speaking out on this to try to bring some calm, because they also know that stress will make you sicker. If you're under a lot of stress, your body's not doing what, it's not operating properly because the stress is making things, it's magnifying things.
I saw a video of Fosse saying over a couple of years ago that he knew this was going to happen. How would he know this? Do you know? What would cause somebody to know, and why would there be drills on this? And That's what I don't understand.
Yeah, I mean, I get it. I mean, the way people put that information out there, as far as the WHO and the CDC and whatnot, and Dr. Fauci. I mean, granted, his line of work is studying, pathogens and viral outbreaks and things of that nature. So, of course, if that's your job, you're going to run scenarios of pandemics. You're going to run those kind of numbers. You're going to run models. You're going to run preparedness, reactive scenario exercises. You're going to, that if that's your job, that's kind of part of the job, right? Now, but when you take an event like this Event 201 thing that occurred right as, just months before this happened, and then you look at the information as far as the people whose hands are getting, whose pockets are getting, whose pockets are benefiting from this, it's easy to say that there could be ulterior motives lying about if there's some way that you financially are benefiting from all of this catastrophe.
Well, that's that
for lack of a better
video.
word.
That's that video.
Yeah.
I'll send it to you, Michelle,
But-
and I won't
but,
keep you because I want to let other callers call in. I don't know if you've
But
got.
the other thing worth
Okay.
mentioning is the fact that the original lockdown was the original reason. Don't forget the original reason why we all shut down in the first place was to keep the hospitals from becoming overwhelmed, because the models that they had suggested that it was so viral, that it was spreading so easily and so fast, and in a unique way, unprecedented by these other the SARS or the N1H1 or the swine flu. They didn't have the same virility rate as far as the ability to for so many people to catch it so quick. So the models were suggesting that the hospitals were going to become overwhelmed, that there would be more patients nationwide than we would be able to physically handle, that it would break our healthcare system. There would literally be people who would be turned away from a hospital bed. So that was the original reason for the lockdown. And then also to make it so that not so many people got it all at once. Now, of course, we did the lockdown. Everybody went home. Apparently, it was a success because the real numbers that came in were way different than the projected numbers that they thought were going to happen, which is good news. We didn't want those numbers. But now that we're here, we're in a different place now. Now we've been through that. The numbers are what the numbers are. Again, but you have a lot of people out there contesting the numbers as far as, they're putting false claims on death certificates and things like that. And I don't know if they are or if they're not. I know that, one person's theory is just as good as another person's theory on what is really happening. But the bottom line is we are where we are now. We know what we know now as far as what, has actually occurred and where we are at. And each person has their own unique situation now that they have to discern what is best for them, as far as we all have to slowly work our way back out into the social environment of whatever it is that our norm was before all this happened. And each person has to address in their own way their best return to life. Is that not where we are now? Everybody kind of facing how is it best for me to get back out there? That's what I'm seeing, is that we're all kind of in that.
Well, I'm not really getting a choice on that, Sagi. They're not.
Yeah.
They're not giving me that choice, because you can go to therapy or San Antonio and they've got me shut down, and so I don't get that choice. So I've got a
and
whole
I
nother.
imagine some people. Imagine a lot of people have limited options unless they're willing to change jobs. If your job,
Right.
if your job was, everybody has such a unique set of situation. You're right, and your situation is just as unique as everyone else's. So what is your situation? What are you how do you feel? Like, are you ready to go back to the grocery store and then socially interact with people without a mask on, or do you
Well,
still think?
I don't go to the stores anyway. Pretty much I've always got my stuff delivered over the last couple of years. So it's
But if you
not like
woke
a
up
big deal.
tomorrow
But I
morning
did I did
and you
enjoy
needed some
walking
milk,
around I did enjoy walking around sometimes big lots and stuff like that. But one of the things that I cannot handle with my asthma is the mask. So as long as that's mandatory and there's a fine, because in San Antonio there's really heavy rules like in Houston, um, as long as there is going to be that, I won't be going out. Like I had to go to Lowe's when my refrigerator broke, and I had to wear that mask in there, and I was literally thought I was going to die because I could not get enough air into my face, but I kept it on. And then the minute I got outside, I tore it off my face. But then I realized I tore it off and threw it in the trash because it was a paper one. But then I thought, wow, I walked into my car, I could have been stopped, because you're supposed to have one on, But the thing is, I don't think that I will get out there, not because of the virus so much as I can't handle the mask. Does that make sense?
I'm with you. I'm right there with you on the mask. I was out the other day shopping, and I literally felt like a social reject because I was the only person out and about in the store. I was getting so many dirty looks. I literally felt like I was. Sooner or later, I was going to get in an altercation from somebody
You had
approaching
you
me
had
about
one on,
not
or you
having.
didn't have one on?
I did not have one on. I was the only person without one.
They won't
And
let you in the store here without it.
no, it's just strongly encouraged. But it wasn't so much that I was worried about a security guard or a policeman. I was worried
Right.
about the general public, the way people were reacting to the audacity of me to be out there without a mask on. I mean, people were giving me dirty looks and striking glares. I mean, looks that if
Right.
looks could kill, some of these old ladies might have ripped my head off.
So it's like not mandatory where you're at?
It's not mandatory to wear a mask. It's just strongly encouraged.
Well, it's not. Like if you need to go in the store and you can't get in the store, then it's not just encouraged anymore over here, okay? You have to have one on to go into a Walmart. You have to have one where I live to go in. So it's not just encouraged, and I believe, and I'm not going to say names, but if it would have just been encouraged from the beginning, we could have moved this quicker, but I wouldn't have went out because I would have just, like I had to go in Lowe's, like I said, to pick a refrigerator, and I just literally couldn't. I was arguing with the sales guy because I was just like in such a bad way, and I noticed a lot of people. This is one thing that I did gather from being in Lowe's, is everyone was so tense, but it was mainly because they couldn't breathe through their mask. Like I got to talking with a few people, and they were like, "I can't handle this mask,"
And the mask, I mean, if you're going to wear the mask, I'm not telling anybody not to wear a mask. But if you do choose to go the mask route, or it's forced, like it's being enforced, and you have to have a mask on to go in the store, that doesn't mean when you get back in your car and you roll the window up and you're driving, you have to keep the mask on. When you get back home, that you have to sit in your living room with a mask on, because actually what a mask does is it restricts the flow of air, kind of like breathing into a paper bag, so to speak, where you're getting you're creating a more conducive environment for a potential virus to grow in your lungs, because that moist air is being captured and then rebreathed back in by the mask.
Sagi, who would
wear the
stay
mask
in their
as
house
little as
with one on?
possible. People, you would be surprised. You
Really?
laugh at the notion, but people see mask protects you on TV, and they're at home making peanut butter and jelly sandwiches with a mask on. Yeah.
Oh, that's ridiculous.
But it's the truth. There really are people out there who are doing that.
That's crazy. I'm sorry. I needed some laughter. That is funny. Because if you're in home, unless you have people coming and going in your home, but again,
So you're afraid to
saw my
breathe on
grandkids
the
today.
sandwich that you're going to eat, huh? Okay, see the ridiculousness in that. But we will let you go because I'm about ready to zip this up. We've
Okay,
been on
great.
for a little over an hour and a half. Thank you for your call, Vivian. And I'm going to give some final thoughts on how we ended up getting into this totalitarian type of a situation. And then let Sagi have his final thoughts. And then.
Okay, well, I'm gonna hang up. I love y'all, and
Okay, I
I'll
love
hang
you
up and
too,
just turn it up and
sweetie.
listen till it'll be done, and then I'll head to bed.
All right, thank you, hon. Thank
Okay,
you for calling.
all right.
Thank you.
Okay, thanks. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. In the beginning, all of this was voluntary. Everything was voluntary. Well, what has happened is people got scared, and out of their overreaction and their fear, they were the ones demanding for these draconian measures to be taken. It was from the people. The people asked for these extra measures to come about out of not thinking straight and reacting out of fear, not by the evidence around them, but by what they were hearing, by these numbers and these predictions that were going around. So it never changed about the stay at home. It was a suggestion. Nobody is on house arrest. Nobody has to stay locked in their homes. Okay, but it's the same was with the masks and all of these other things, until people started getting so scared that they started like shaming people for not being afraid of something that that they probably had more education on than the person with the mask, and they understood how you can catch these things and was paying attention to what was going on around them. So it was the people that were in fear that made this into this made a mountain out of a molehill. So now we're getting the actual numbers, and with the actual numbers, this should restore confidence, critical thinking, and remove the fear, and so we can get back to life, back to hugging each other, back to being a human being, for crying out loud. And I have one thing more to say. It has nothing to do with the changes and stuff that I was wanting to see how different areas were affected. And that is that about the Almighty, the creator of all. I don't think that there is anything that exists outside of the Almighty, the creator of everything. So, what we have been gifted with the breath of life, we have been given free will, and with that, we are to use our discernment. We are to love our enemies, meaning we don't have any enemies, and take care of one another. Be kind to one another. Be compassionate. Have empathy. Try to put yourself in their shoes. So, that's where I feel like, I know you couldn't convince me there's not a creator. You can't. But maybe some people don't think there is. Well, that's up to them. They have that free will. They can believe that. But I just don't see anything outside of the grand design of the Almighty creator of everything. And Sagi, do you have any final words before we zip this up and let all these fine folks go? And you got anything you want to add?
No, I just wanted to thank you for letting me be on your platform. I wanted to thank the people who called in, the people in chat who are participating. I really am sorry that I was a little late.
A little?
I think everything you just said is so true. Everybody is looking at a situation now where they have a unique set of circumstances where they have to figure out the best way for them to slowly reintegrate into society. And I'm not telling anybody the best way to do it for them because I am not walking in their shoes. However, I love the fact that we have a platform where people can call in and we can share our experiences. I hope that we can continue to do this each week, and hopefully each week we'll make progress. We'll figure things out, and we will come to a better understanding of each other. And that's really all I got.
Well, thank you. Let me Okay. I just want to close it up by saying, thank you for everybody that, who come, everybody who calls, just like Sagi, just did. And there is no judgment here. So whatever you've got going, whatever you want to share, you're welcome to call and share your experiences, how you feel, and what's going on with you. It is so personal. It's between, what each of us are going through is so personalized and so unique. That's how much that the creator of this place loves you, loves me, loves all of us. And if we want to, have the creator's heart, which, by breathing the breath of life into us, by showing love to one another and patience, and not imposing our will over somebody else's, that is a way of unconditionally loving somebody, loving them where they're at, and allowing them to grow and learn from their experiences, and getting that understanding of who the creator is. And it's just an amazing process. The spiritual awakening, Holy Spirit baptism is life-changing. Absolutely life-changing. And with that, you guys, thank you all for coming. Have yourself a wonderful day. And remember to always share what you know so we can all listen and grow. Have a good night.